And your independence from the Father in order to be an ego has constituted a denial of your essential being and your willingness to let it flow into expression, because that's what's normal for it. So you see, the ego's invitation for agreement has, as I said, the purpose of making it appear that it really exists. At the same time, the flip side of it is that its goal is to do everything it can not to have its non-existence revealed, its unreality revealed. So it has only its own interests at heart, and your interests mean nothing, the divine one that you are. So when I'm saying, do not be willing to conform to patterns and behaviors, I mean, don't play in to the ego's attempt on the parts of others to prove that it exists, and don't be a party to engaging in that which ensures that the unreality of the ego will never be uncovered. Am I making sense?
Yes. Yes, you are.
That's what I mean by not conforming.
Don't give the ego the credit it wants. And
Exactly.
that's by recognizing that.
Exactly. You've got to value that which is of value in you. And just be it. Just let it out into expression. You are doing that. You may be in the minority, but that minority is growing. But at the moment it don't get no respect. That doesn't make it not valuable. And it does mean that it's even more important not to abandon it. Okay.
Thank you.
You are welcome. It may seem that today we've talked about rather subtle things. But it's only because we've been talking about habits of the mind, which are not as tangible as foot bones and heel bones and leg bones, etc. It could even seem that I'm talking about things that don't have much relevance to the lives that you're experiencing every day, because I'm talking about non-physical things. But I'm telling you, and I will say it again, ideas are the things. The things are ideas. The chairs here, the wood, the paint that they're painted with. It's not wood and paint and chairs. It's ideas, ideas, and ideas. Ideas which are perfectly visible and tangible to mind, to the mind that forms it. And your mind is not separate from God's, the one that formed it. And if you want to wake up, you're going to have to let yourself have a new experience of the same old things you're already familiar with. And so I have to point your eyes, your attention, in the direction where the shift can occur. And so the time will come when something happens. If you have an upset stomach, we'll say, you, instead of immediately thinking, I must have eaten something, what did I eat? You're going to say, oh, is this mine? Which immediately removes it from a physical focus. And then if it is yours, in other words, it's not the effect of someone else's distress, then you're going to address it with yourself by recognizing that it reflects a belief, a misperception in your mind about something, a body, which is, again, an idea. No matter to it, no matter there. You will address it in an area that you would call intangible, the mind. And you will either ask, desire in your mind, within you will say, you will desire to know the truth about your body. And only if you need to be aware of what the belief is, will you be interested in having that disclosed to you as well, so that you might consciously abandon it because of its uselessness. My point is this: if all is mind, if God is mind, infinite mind, and creation is absolutely mental, while at the same time being experienceable without ever becoming material, then you're going to be learning how to be aware in a mindful way rather than a physical way. a mindful way rather than a material way. A mindful way instead of a medical way. See, you think bones and sinews and connective tissue and flesh and blood are real. You think they're physical, you think they're tangible. But I've just told you they're purely mental. They are ideas. They are the energy of spirit, the energy of love, in movement and identifiable, recognizable. You tend to give preference to the scientific and medical view of body and world because you think it's material. That's what makes it practical to you to do it. That's what makes it a process which is not intangible. But I promise you that if you will start looking at everything as though it is not material, the substance of it is not matter, physical matter, but is indeed mental, constituted of ideas which are eternal, you will not have abandoned everything, and you will have the opportunity for a shift to occur in you where you discover the practicality of seeing everything as it is, an idea, as mental, as fluid, as not trapped in a concrete form, but as pattern that is maintained by intelligence, as mind rendered experienceable, and the idea that you're having to deal with intangibles will be replaced with the same sense you currently have about the definiteness of matter, except it will be the definiteness of spirit. It will be the definiteness of ideas. And spirit, the substance of everything, will no longer be conceived to be nebulous, intangible, ghostly like the Holy Spirit. This is part of the cultural shift that I'm talking about. And when you're apprehending everything as what it truly is, you will find less control needed. You will find no control needed. You will find yourself happily willing to flow with the way it all works, because ultimately it's all the infinitude of you. And you will find safety. You will be in the absence of threat. And you will consciously experience being in the middle of the movement of intelligence, which is a joy to be experiencing. you will find that to apprehend everything as it really is, even though right now you feel like I'm talking about intangibles, to be utterly practical. Because chance, sin, sickness, death, accident won't be there. And your being will be available to a whole new range of experiences new to you, of freedom that you can't even imagine yet. Now, this means that you've got to participate consciously. It's as though right now you're standing at the edge of a pool, and the pool is the nebulous spiritual void of your divinity. That sounds wonderful and it looks so inviting. But you're used to walking around on the deck around the pool and in the city beyond, and on solid ground that you can feel the definiteness of, and you can get traction with, and feel a capacity to govern what happens and what you do. And you all come up to the pool and you keep one foot secure and you stick the other foot in to test the water. But where are you anchored? You're anchored where your balance is, which is on the foot on the deck of beside the pool. And you know what? You could tie a rope to your waist and have a friend holding the other end of the rope, and then you could jump into the pool and you could attempt to explore the experience, but you know your friend has the rope and you've already agreed that after 3 seconds he's going to pull you back. You know what? Until you jump in, until you dive in, or push away, get in and push away from the side without a rope, and with your feet no longer anchored on the ground, there's something that won't happen. Until you do it, there's something that won't happen. You won't swim for your life. Do you understand what I'm saying? What I'm saying is, if you're not familiar with swimming, if you're learning how to swim, when you get into the water, you've got to swim to stay alive. You've got to swim for your life. As long as you have a tether on you, as long as you have something that won't let you sink, you don't have to swim for your life. You don't have to swim with the commitment of your whole being. And until you make commitment with your whole being, you're not present with the new experience, and you don't have available to you the opportunity to get the hang of swimming. You're used to how the deck beside the pool supports you. But you don't know how water supports you until you get in and have no support, because you won't give yourself to the experience enough to find out that it will support you, but it's in an entirely new way. And once you understand and experience the way, you're not swimming for your life anymore. You're just moving in harmony with the way water supports your body, right? You can't make a move to a new environment or a new culture without abandoning yourself to it, without having an ace up your sleeve or a backup plan. Because until you let go of the ace and the backup plan, you're not really present with the way the new culture works. And you won't swim for your life. You won't bring all of your capacity to be to bear upon the new environment. And so the new environment can't show you how it works and how it will support you. Is this making sense? It isn't that you have to swim for your life because there's threat. It's that you have to swim for your life because you don't know how your life works in the new environment. And until you have nothing to back up, no safety net, you don't bring your attention solidly and fully to the new environment to find out how it works. And so it can't bless you with the way it supports you. And so it seems that there's a risk. But it's temporary, just like learning how to ride a bicycle. The risk of falling down is temporary and usually brief. Even if you use training wheels, you've got to finally take them off. And when you take them off, that's when you're riding for your life, right? Up to then, you're playing at riding. So that's part of it. That's part of this process. You have to abandon yourself to the new culture without a backup, so that you bring all of your attention to bear on where you are, so that you can discover how it will support you, how it works. And then you'll be blessed. Because you won't be hanging on to the past, and you won't be hanging on to the solidity of the ground, which, as long as you hold on to it, absolutely inhibits you from the new experience. The only reason that spirit, the only reason that ideas, the only reason that mind seems to be nebulous and intangible is because you've been conditioned to think that it isn't. And the only reason matter seems to you to be tangible is because you've been conditioned with that perspective. And mind you, I tapped the table when I called it matter, and I should have tapped it when I called it spirit. The thing is that defined as matter, you can't experience the fluidity of it. You can't experience the fact that it is energy, the energy of love, energy which is spirit. It's absolutely impossible for you to have the insight and the experience of the fact that whatever it is that you're touching is an idea, and that you're touching an idea. That mind is touching an idea and experiencing the substance of it, even though it has no density. You see, matter has density. I do not want to belabor this or make it seem complicated, and so I will not continue further right now. Just remember that when you define form as matter, you have a very limited experience of a divine idea. And it's your birthright to be experiencing the fullness of what it is as a divine idea, which you as mind can experience as having substance without it ever becoming matter. As an idea, as I've said before, you can set something on a glass table top, or you can walk through it. As matter, you can set a glass on it and injure yourself walking into it. The difference between form as matter and form as idea absolutely governs the way you experience your body, as well as its perfection. So this is important. This is practical, what we're talking about. Nothing nebulous about it. Nothing intangible about it. Spirit isn't something nebulous. Spirit is what you can touch. And what you're touching it with is not matter, but mind. Your mind is touching an idea, the substance of which is spirit. Beginning to approach everything from that standpoint is going to open up a radically new experience of everything. And ultimately, you're going to call everything the kingdom of heaven, because you're seeing it as it truly is. In the meantime, you won't begin to have that experience if you're not willing to embrace the possibility of what I've said, and if you're not willing to get off of the deck of the pool without a backup plan or a safety net. So that you might really be in the position of exploring reality clearly. Enough said. And except I will say, this is supposed to be fun. So don't make a drudgery out of it. Just get about doing it. I love you all.
We love you.
From one standpoint, it could seem reasonable for me to say, I look forward to seeing you in the kingdom of heaven. But the truth of it is, I look forward to you seeing yourself in the kingdom of heaven and realizing that you had been in it all along when you just thought you were in Paul and Susan's living room. or in your apartment. Okay. You're welcome.